Dad, Daddy, Dad, Dad.
What?
I love you, Dad.
Oh, okay. Love you too. Welcome back to Relatable Dads Unscripted, figuring out fatherhood, one honest conversation at a time. My name is Ruel.
This is part 2 of Dads We Never Had. I hope you enjoy. Please comment, please subscribe. It really does help the channel. Thank you very much.
Peace. Okay, so becoming a father yourself, how do you feel like having your dad and I say not having your dad, let's say your experience of your dad, how has that affected your childhood, your bringing up your children?
So, because of I knew this conversation was going to take place, I messaged Dan and said to her, look, just you tell me how you think my feelings of the lack of father that I had has affected me throughout, like, being a dad and whatnot. She actually sent me some messages back. So the first one was like, in a positive way, it's made me be overly present for my kids. Like, all the feelings that I had growing up of my dad not being there, my kids can never say that. And I've done so much, probably overcompensated a lot for my kids, because I'm like, nah, you're not. Like, yeah. So I don't miss anything for them, like schooling wise, like even parents' evenings, blah blah blah.
Smallest little things.
So I feel like that massively has impacted it. Trying to just be like the best that I can be, like doing this. But I want them to, like when they're older or whatever, like look back on this and be like, nah, like my dad tried his best. And you know what? I said to Sienna the other day, I was like, Sienna, like if you could change anything about me, what would it be? She was like, nothing, Dad. I love you the way you are. You're amazing. Like, you're the best dad. And I was like, come give me a cuddle. But like, she's just so, like, all of my kids are so fucking loving, and they all know that, probably not Rose so much, you don't really care, but like the girls definitely know that I'm always trying my best. And so, like,
if you was to go tomorrow for whatever reason and never return,
what, dead?
Yeah. Or what would you want your children to remember about you?
I love them. 100%.
Yeah. Because I wonder that. It's like, it's just not, for me, it's not just I love them because I think my kids know I love them. But for me, it's to know that I was always as good as I could possibly be. Do you know what I mean? Like, I did the best I could, and I didn't always do everything right, but I did the best I could possibly be. And I think about that. I think about that a lot for myself. And I wouldn't say I have suicidal thoughts, essentially, but I think a lot about what would happen if I wasn't here. More than thinking I want to kill myself. I think, like, what would happen if I wasn't here? Like, what happened? Do you know what I mean?
You know, the conversations that we've been having recently with like fathers and stuff like that, that was the one thing that, if you was to go, like, what was the one value?
Yeah.
And I was wanting to know that I love them. Like, so everything I do, like, every breath I take is for them, really. Like, and effectively it is, because like I was on the verge of like fucking top of myself. So the reason they're there is because of them little fuckers. Because I mean,
they kept you in.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, and I'm the same. And I want them to know that I love them, but I want them to know that I do the best I can. Or every day that I do something, it's because I'm thinking of them, and want their lives to be as good as possible. But it's weird, isn't it? It's kind of like when you think of that, like, because one day we're not going to be around, and I think about this a little bit recently. As you know, I went away with my mum, and I've taken my mum away a couple of times and just doing little bits with my mum. And I'm very conscious now, weirdly, that my mum's not getting any younger, you know, and she's not old, and I'm thinking to myself, like, you know, at some point, and she talks to me, laugh about it, I joke about it. I probably bat a lot of stuff off with jokes a lot of the time. And she'll say stuff like, yeah, no, well, I might have this for my funeral. And I'll be like, yeah, we'll be jumping you around. And I always make it a joke. But then I have thought quite a lot of times, like, what I'm going to do if she's not here.
Yeah, mate.
Because
I can't even think about it.
yeah, because that's the only person we have, you know. And yeah, we never had the dad. So mum was mum and dad. Yeah. So I've noticed that even like I say, I've been taking her around and I've been doing little things. And like this weekend, I took her away and I'm just like, I just look at her sometimes. I just think like, I'm really proud of the stuff my mum's doing with and doing little things and stuff like that. But also I'm just making sure I spend memories with her, you know, not just memories when she's 90 years old, potentially on her deathbed, but like genuine memories with her. And I'm very aware that probably about 5-6 years ago, I wasn't really I wouldn't say I wasn't a very good son, but I wasn't really a very good son.
Okay.
In the sense that I was probably focused so much on my own kids and my own family. With my mum, I kind of wasn't around for as much. And when I went through my divorce, my mum was like straight there. Like, it's like she'd never, do you know what I mean? And it's like, and a lot of people were, to be fair, a lot of my friends were, but when I went through that, and then I just realised then, like, realisation that, fucking hell, my mum's, I've really not spent all that much time with her. It was very much left to other people, with my sister particularly, to like, you know, do things with my mum, and I wasn't really present with her. And I'm now realising that I think that has made me realise a lot of things, that there's certain people that are around me in my life, and I try to like do my best for those people now. I know it's kind of off subject, but I think it's just like because I think because I never had a dad around, you're so much more connected with your mum.
Well, saying like, speaking of memories, I for Mother's Day I sent her, because I generally don't buy presents for people in it. I'm just like, we'll go out, we'll do something, and that's what my present is to everybody. Like, so we're going Rome next week. That was for like the kids' Christmas present and Dan's Christmas present.
Oh, okay.
I was like, I'm not gonna. If you buy them a gift,
it's gone. Yeah.
By the time Boxing Day comes, they've forgotten to give them. Do you know what I mean? So like, I think last year I took the girls to Michael Jackson, and then this year I said, look, I'll booked a trip to Rome.
Yeah.
So we're all going to Rome midway through the year, but it was for their Christmas present.
It's cool.
But like for my mum, for her birthday, I said to her that we'll go to Krakow, like to go Auschwitz and all that, in December. And then, so that's going to be sick. Like, just going off there.
I think, and that would be like getting that. Like I say, because we have such a good connection, and I think we've called this the dad we never had, but we never had a dad. But we had like our mum twice, and we had like our mum was extra there for us. I know with my mum, she definitely was, and I think
you're probably the only guy that I know that has a very similar relationship to their mum as I do with mine.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Because when we talked about it, we've had these kinds of discussions as we've been talking, we realise that so many different things, similarities.
But we know each other through the gym, and then we've connected like as dads, because we had kids who were like, like I had daughters, blah, blah, blah. But then off of starting this, we kind of...
Well, we've learned more about each other, and it's crazy. We've learned about each other and about each other's upbringings and stuff like that, which, I mean, was actually quite interesting, because when the people are watching it, so watching me and you kind of learn about each other anyway, because we talk about it here rather than we obviously have little conversations off air. But I think so we're really learning about each other and each other's past, and so it's like, even sometimes we say things like, so I didn't even know that you grew up sort of predominantly in a sort of white heritage.
But like, you look around me and all my friends are now.
But now it makes sense though, because you are very much, like you say, you wear your colour. You very much want people to know, like you kind of overdo it being black. Black people always overdo it anyway. Let's be honest, they're always overdo everything. So then you're definitely on point with your heritage there. But for me, I've kind of come to terms with it in terms of like, like I'm just who I am. Do you know what I mean?
I'm very much I am who I am, but like, yeah, I don't know. So I was speaking to one of my friends. She's like, "Oh, I'm trying to find a boyfriend, blah blah blah." But I like laddie lads, but she likes mixed race and black guys. So she likes guys who would be like, "Let's go to the pub and have a drink."
Yeah.
But then all of the guys that she's going like trying to get with,
Yeah.
they're not
Hobbies.
Yeah, like I love going to the pub and getting fucked up and watching like football and stuff. But she's just like, she tries to get a guy like that, but then there's no guys that she finds attractive who do that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Because I don't think that's more in that
but
pub stuff.
Yeah, so I'm like, yeah, let's go pub and get fucked.
Yeah, because you cut that in your culture.
So that's what I mean. I'm very much like, I've got that very
pub culture,
laddie white kind of go beer garden, get smashed up in the summer. But since I'm eating Stephen Roberts, big up Stephen Roberts, don't know that you do. We walked away from him and was like, I wish he was like that.
Oh
yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm terrible.
I know you are. But yeah, since we him, I'm kind of like, I don't want my kids being seeing me drinking all the time. I don't really drink that much anymore.
Yeah.
And although if there's tequilas knocking about, I'll tequila for fun.
Black people definitely be just drinking. This is beers, it's rum.
You know what I mean? Rum. But I love rum. And then separately, all three of us as siblings, like my brother, my sister, we like rum and apple juice. But that was from my dad. So I remember when I was younger, but not too, but I was at my dad's house and he poured out a rum and apple juice. That's my drink, bro. Like I've got so many people converted on it. They'll be on nights out and they'll message me and be like, "Look what I'm drinking," and it'll be a rum and apple juice. But yeah, so I think this is gonna have to be a two-parter. To be honest,
probably gonna have to be a two-parter. Right. So obviously becoming a father yourself, when you became a father, what things do you think that you did, or you wanted to make sure that you did, to make it so you wasn't the same as how your experience was?
So when I've done all my kids first, so Sienna's always proud of this one as well.
Yeah.
So like I've done like when she got wheeled out, I took her into the ward and everything else, got her changed, blah blah blah. I remember just holding her. I was just like, no matter what, I'm always going to be here for you. And like when she was like the first few months, I was so present. Like the kid would just all shitty nappies every bath time. Like I feel like Dan's connection with Sienna probably wasn't as strong when she was a baby because I was like, no, I'll do it. Yeah. I was trying again, going back to the overcompensation. So I was like, no, I want to do it. And then I think that was a lot of my hang-ups of me not having a dad, that I wanted to just make sure that anything that kid needed, I could do. So Dan went away on holiday like 2 years ago, I think it was, with on her sister's hen party, and all the other women there who had children at home, like they were fucking doing their lunches, making sure that someone was there to do the kids' hair, making sure that like they had all their food, like clothes out ready for all this stuff. I'm like, all right, so that done.
Yeah, peace.
And then she'll always say, anything I can do for the kids, like he can do just as well. And even here, Sienna wants me to do the French plats, bro. But there's one he'll know who I'm talking about, innit? His name's Sam.
You can't roll?
Nah, I can't cane roll. I can do French plats, never try cane roll, but probably can.
Same thing.
Yeah, so like I can do like French plats, all that, plait, like half up after. I do like whatever hairstyles they want in it. But there's one brother called Sam. He's on my Instagram, and we know each other through Naked Butler, innit?
Right.
And yeah, random. But he's got a daughter who is, I think she must be like 12 or 13. He's so present as a dad. He's gonna come on here at some point. Like, yeah, but he's awesome. And I've only met him actually once. But he's in like we've been connected on Instagram for ages, and like we always like and share each other's stuff. And proper cool dude. and his daughter does like racing.
Go-karts.
Yeah,
That guy.
yeah, but he's Asian, I think.
Does he live in like
Birmingham way. Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I know him.
Oh, really?
He also follows me on Instagram.
When?
From years ago. He follows from Jada.
Oh, is it?
That's weird.
Yeah.
She's like a really good go-kart.
Yeah, she's sick.
Yeah, bro.
Laura, big as hell.
That's it. I know him. That's so weird. That's so weird.
We're tagging him in this. You got to work it. But no, I spoke to him about it, and he said, yeah, he wants to come on anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he used to do hairstyles with his daughter.
Yeah.
So then me and him used to have hairstyle battles, innit? So I'd see a video on like YouTube or Instagram or whatever.
So
and then I'd be like, all right, I'd send it to him, and I'd be like, I'm doing this one. So then I'd do it, and I'd send it to him, and then he'd do his daughter, and then like we'd just compare.
Because I think he's single dad as well. Isn't
I think, I don't know if his daughter lives with him full time.
Yeah.
But he's very, very present.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they raced together with that.
Yeah. So like,
he was going to come to some parkour. That's so weird,
he's
mate.
cool. I met him, and he came to do a butler job for me. And then I met him then. But yeah, he's mad cool, like really cool guy. And we've literally only ever spoken via Instagram or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I used to do hairstyles, and me and him used to compete doing hairstyles all the time and like video each other doing hair and shit. So I was always, anything Dan can do for the kids, I can do in it. That was my big thing. With Ro, it wasn't as much because I kind of proved to myself that I could do it.
Yeah.
So we've gone well off.
No, we haven't. We're talking about, that's the same for me. I was the same in the sense of with my kids that everything that Nicola could do. I'll be honest, I could definitely not do hair as good as she did it. But I could plait Jada's hair and do her hair and stuff like that. It's weird. And even now, when I'm teaching in schools now, there'll be like a girl with her hair like, and I'm like, just when you put it in the plant, it's like, can you do it? I'm like, yeah. So you chuck it in the thing, and I was like, oh, okay. But
I like showing off when I do it, though.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I'm the dad, innit?
Yeah, watch this.
I remember,
putting out letters in their name and that.
Yeah, Dan did teach me how to do it because you're going to be pissed because she thinks it.
Fair.
Dan did teach me how to plait. But I'm better at it than I know because I do it tighter. That's why I'm better. I do it tighter. But what was I going to say then? There was something I was going to say. I can't remember. I was going to say that.
You probably had to cuss me in some way, shape, or
form. No. It was down to what you were saying.
Well, I was going to say, with mine, I was always there doing the stuff for the kids as well. And the same as you, like, I was there for every part of it, feeds and everything. I did a lot of the night feeds. From as soon as the bottles came in, I did a lot of the night feeds, even when she was like expressing bottles. So I was very, again, overcompensating to be as present as possible. And I never wanted to be, I used to always say, like, I used to say this to people, like, I always want to be there because I never want my kids to feel like that their dad wasn't there. But this is a bit deeper. Even in my relationship with Nicola, even when perhaps the relationship wasn't as good as it possibly should have been or could have been or whatever, I never really wanted to break that relationship because I didn't ever want to wake up in the morning and my kids not be there. So even when perhaps maybe we could have split longer a time ago, I never wanted to because I wanted to make sure that I was always there every day with the kids and wake up to them every morning. And that was one of the biggest things I struggled with. And even when we split, it's one of the hardest things because now that they're a week at hers and a week at mine, it's really like a scary time.
First week.
Scary, bro. Well, it kind of built up gradually anyway because we split up, but then we lived together for a year. So even though we weren't together for a year, we were in the same house. So she would live in a separate room and everything. So I would go out and the kids stayed in the house. But then when they first went over to their mum's house, and then that first sort of time, you're like, I guarantee she felt the same way too. You're just like, when they leave, you're like,
what'd you do?
I'm like, no, because again, I was so present.
Oh, it's quiet.
Yeah, I can hear my brain thinking. And I was like, what the hell? Like, this is weird. I'm like, even now, every Monday and Tuesday, I don't have every other Monday and Tuesday when they're not here, because I don't have too much to do. I'm always like, I don't have nothing to do this evening. I'm not seeing anyone. I'm just like, it's weird, and it makes me think actually how my mum must have felt when
they were there all the time.
Yeah, we were there all the time.
So I think about mum.
Yeah, like how must that have been? Like they never had a break. But not just that, when we did go away, how much it must have felt weird, like when there's no one there. Yeah. And even now, my mum's now, obviously she's old and she has no kids, like sort of thing around her. So now she's, for many years, she was kids like this all on her 24/7. And then I left home, my sister left home, my brother left home, and well, they're in different order, but we all left home, and now she's just on her own. And it must be quite weird for her, because my mum still doesn't have a partner. So therefore, it must be quite weird for that, you know. And so I think to myself, even with me now, I'm like, gee, it's kind of weird as I'm at home on my own. But it's scary because there's lots of other scary parts to it, right? Because at some point, and you know, I've got a partner who's come in, and my kids know her and they love her to bits, but there's going to be a point where another man eventually, at some point, one nearly was, but whoever, will start being potential father figure towards my kids.
Oh,
that's a whole it is a scary thing. I mean, you have to trust, and I do trust that she will find someone and do the best you can and be a good parent, whatever. But it's scary to think that, you know, someone else is then potentially going to be, and she probably thinks the same. So it's scary to kind of like someone else might be in your shoes. Do you know what I mean?
So staying kind of on piece, but so I remember when me and Dan first got together, obviously I was like around her and Ivy all the time. So effectively I was like doing the whole father figure thing. And I remember me, Ivy and Dan went up to York, and I was sitting there, and I would always remember like sitting there, and I was like, I always thought the way my life would turn out, because obviously I just saw like dads would just have their kids part-time. I just thought that was the way life was. So I'd have a girl, she'd get pregnant, things might not work out. I'd keep it moving, but I'd see my kids as much as possible. But then I remember Ivy used to come home from nursery. She'd say a new phrase. Ivy come home from nursery. She'd like do something different. She'd like create this new dance. She'd start singing a new nursery rhyme, blah, blah, blah. Like every day, their developmental is so quick. They progress so fast. If you miss 2 weeks, your kid's effectively a new person. And at that such young age, like you miss a week, they're saying a whole new sentence. Their laugh has changed. Like all of those little tiny like milestones or little things that you're missing constantly by not being present. I said to Dan, like I remember, I was like sitting there and I was like, the way Ivy grows up so quickly, I can never not be there for my child. And I remember saying this before Sienna, before Ro, blah, blah, blah. But I was like, I just thought my life was going to be getting her pregnant. It wouldn't work. And then,
because that's what you've experienced.
But then, so I feel like that, going back to like the feeling of you saying about, about you not being present for Jada like when she first came along. Like, I feel like that for me was kind of a big hang up, because I was like, I can't not be there for my kid. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's another reason, like, so.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? I think, I think also, like you said, like you were saying there about how you kind of expected in your mind you'll be probably a single dad at some point. I kind of never wanted that. I never wanted to be a single dad in this respect anyway.
I never wanted to. I'm not saying I wanted to.
Of course. You kind of expected it.
But I never thought I would. Sorry.
That's right.
I never thought I would have the will to succeed in a relationship because I had a child. That's where.
But the child wouldn't keep you there, sort of thing. Or whatever. Do you feel like because you never had, say, for example, the blueprint from your dad, the blueprint from your dad was to leave. That was the blueprint to to do that, exactly what you're expecting? How do you feel that that's affected you? Because I feel like for me, my dad obviously left and was, I always think this, right? When you think of something, when something happens to you in your life, you either do one of two things. You kind of lean towards it or lean away from it. Yeah. And I think, so like when you get people that smoke, you get a parent that smokes, who I think the kids either hate smoking.
I hate smoking.
Same. Or the kids start smoking because their parents smoked, right? And I think similarly with my dad, when my dad left, because he left, I wanted to be around so much. But then some people go, my dad wasn't there for me, so I don't have that sort of blueprint. Yeah. So they end up leaving as well. So it becomes that sort of thing. But as for me, I wanted to do the opposite. I'm like, nah, I hate that. So I'm going to be better than that. And I think that's where that change has happened. But it's weird because I don't know what the right fit way to do it. I think we said this before. I think we spoke about it maybe off air. But we spoke about it before, and I don't really know if I am around too much for the kids or not too much. Because I'm just here as much as I possibly can be, and I'm like, I don't know what's normal. Like, is it normal to be like at every part of everything? Do you know what I mean? As much as you. So obviously, and it's only been in the last year not even a year yet that she's left. They've left into their separate house. So obviously, I'm not around for absolutely everything, and that's hard. But prior to that, I was around for every little thing. Is that normal? Like there
is no blueprint. There is no. It's kind of the path that each father chooses, because there are very good dads out there who work away.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So obviously, I spoke to Eddie Hearn the other day. Name dropping that, whatever. But I spoke to Eddie Hearn the other day, and I said, like, you run a massive international business. How do you find the time to be a dad and the time to be an Eddie Hearn, the boxing promoter? And he was like, it's tough, but they know what I'm doing it for. So he isn't around as much as like we are.
Yeah.
And then, but he's like, I Snapchat him in the morning, I FaceTime him in the evenings, I ask him how the day's been, blah, blah, blah. But he can't go to every sports day. He can't go to every parents' evening. But he's doing his best to be there as much as possible. But that's like, see, when we spoke to T the other day, and he was saying that, I said to him, oh, what's your hardest challenge? He said, time.
Yeah.
Like, T's on a good salary, but in a normal job.
Yeah.
And you've got Eddie Hearn, who's a multi-millionaire, like business tycoon, international. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're both battling for time. And it's like, everyone has a separate path and everyone has a separate journey. So that's the beauty of this.
Just whatever way you want to.
Yeah. I don't think there's any right or wrong answer or if you're doing too much or if you're doing too little. As long as your kid can understand that you're doing your best, I think that's the blueprint. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think, I do agree. And I think,
wow, that was a nugget of information. What? Card, you done well there, boy. Pat on the back on that one. No, I quite like that answer, you know?
Well done. For me, right, I try to, in terms of like that sort of thing with the kids, I try to, I always say, I tell you what, I spoke to this older guy. I was teaching a class, and I was always talking about my kids and stuff in the class and stuff. And he come up to me at the end of the session, and he said to me, "You're a wise man beyond your years." And I was like, "Oh, thanks, mate." Like, just to blow it off. And he's like, "No,
I realise you're fucking old as shit.
Yeah. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
You're acting like a child.
Sorry. No, it's cool. He basically said, and I was like, I sort of blow it off like, no, seriously. Like, what you talk about in your sessions, during my Pilates session I'm teaching, he said, what you talk about took me years to figure out. And I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, because this guy was like, he says, I'm rich. I'm a millionaire. I've got loads of money, cars. I've had it all. I've had all the cars. This guy was like 80, 90 years old, right?
On the channel.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen him since. I don't know if you know this. It's just years ago, bro. But anyway, he said, but the only thing I never had, he said, I've worked my ass off. You know, I've got all this stuff. I've got cars. I've got this. I've got that. And he goes, well, all I ever wished for is time. He said, I barely saw my kids. I barely did this. I barely did that. I didn't enjoy my money. Now I've got all this money and I've got no time left. And I was like, and I was realized, and I realized that I've been living my life, and we said this before, time rich, money poor. And
that's rich.
That's what rich is. And if you listen to Bob Marley, they ask him in an interview and they say,
how do you know about Bob Marley?
Well, I know a lot about Bob Marley, mate. I know way more about my history than you really established that.
Wow.
They ask him about his riches, and he says,
"We need this fucking boiling."
Yeah, I know it's hot. They ask him how rich he is, and then he says, "What is riches?" And they ask, "Well, how much money you got in the bank?" sort of thing. And he goes, "That's not how I judge my riches. Yeah, quantify it. He doesn't quantify it like that." And again, the same with me. So I'm much more about. I've been living my life for many years as I'm going to be time rich. I'm there for my kids. I've always been around. So I've given them the time. I've given them to be able to play with them, hang out with them, talk to them. Have games with them, teach them, train them parkour, be around them all the time. And that is what I kind of think myself, that's my value. Okay, we haven't been able to go abroad every year or any year, but it's never been about that for me. And I think I was living like that generally, but it was when that guy said it to me, that's when I had the realization that I'm time rich, and I kind of then think, well, do I want my kids to be time rich or money rich? Ideally, a bit of both. but then it gets to a point sometimes in your life where you need to be a bit more money rich so you can be a bit more time rich. But I'm not really willing to sacrifice too many of my hours to become a millionaire or something. I feel like I could probably become a millionaire if I put my head in. I've got a lot of different ideas, but in the same breath, I don't want to do that if it means taking away loads and loads of hours. And I've got respect for people that do that. Like Eddie Hearn, you say, I respect him for doing that, but I personally wouldn't want to be the dad calling my kids on FaceTime. Yeah. But now I am. Every bloody week I have to call them on FaceTime. Yeah. You know what I mean? So now I have that relationship, but I suppose that's why it's freed me up now to
have them on the Wednesday, and like you break up the week by having them on that Wednesday.
Yeah, so what we do is we have a week on, week off, but the week when I don't have them, I have them on a Wednesday for dinner. So we have dinner with them and then they go back to their mums, and same vice versa. So it just means it breaks up the week a little bit because it is a little bit hard to not see them. They probably find that harder, to be honest with you.
Oh, really?
Jada's, since she was doing her GCS, she's decided she doesn't want to do it, doesn't want to do the swap over. It's not because she doesn't want to see her parents, it's just because she doesn't want to cart back and forward all the time, but also it gives her a bit of time with the other parent. Okay. So like when the boys come here, she gets to spend a bit of time with just her mum, and vice versa. Yeah. So actually I quite like it like that anyway. But it's nice, and more so for Corey because he's the other two, they've got phones, so they can call me whenever they want. But like I haven't spoke to Corey now in like a week. I see him today, and I can't wait to see him. So I teach him at his school on a Monday, and I teach him at his school on a Wednesday. Okay. Anyway, every week. But this week felt a bit longer because it was his mum's birthday on Wednesday, so I didn't teach him at school. So now it's been ages since I've seen him.
Selfish. Why have a birthday on Wednesday?
No, unbelievable. So I didn't get to see him on the Wednesday, and then Callan, I still saw him because I took him snowboarding. But then so it's hard, and you haven't seen him for a long time. Yeah. But Corey doesn't have a phone, doesn't have a device, so it's hard when you just don't see him for ages. And that's really always nice because when I get to his school on a Monday, he always runs up to me and a massive cuddle, and he just sit and cuddle for ages, and in the middle of his school. But it's cute, and it's like it makes it difficult in that, but it's so worth it when you get to that Monday.
So I'm sure I could probably find a caption or a comment of me having a picture of like my 3 kids, being like I feel like a millionaire, and like my bank account don't look like a millionaire's. You know what I mean? But like genuinely, like in my heart, when I've got like all three of them and they're not doing my head in, like I genuinely feel like I feel on top of the world. Like I could be a millionaire. And it's like what you were saying there, like being time rich. I've made it so I am rich with time with my kids, and like just trying to be the best that we can possibly be.
We're in the moment now where people in the world now where people are so involved in their devices, so they are no longer as present. So I think that one thing potentially our dads have taught us, but not actually taught us, what they've shown us, definitely not intentionally, is that we're now much more present because of their actions. And that's now hopefully going to transcend to our kids as to being more present. And I hope that people watching this podcast will become more present in not just by being it. Obviously, if you're working, you're working, but when you're not working and when you're not doing the things that you have to do, be more present in your kids' lives and be more present in your girlfriend's lives or your mum's lives and things like that. So I think that's a key part to that. Just to hopefully that's what people get from it.
Yeah, I feel like we have covered a lot within our talk today.
Yeah,
it's definitely gonna be a 2-parter. But I feel like we have covered a lot. But I feel like we still haven't unpacked the full depth of it. I feel like this is definitely like part 3, part 4, because I feel like my makeup as me today is a lot down to the relationships I didn't have with my dad, and the person I've become is because of the father that I am now. And I'm passionate about being a father, but I feel like my passion for being a father has come from not having a dad. So a lot of my journey, and I'll probably refer back to the fact that I don't have a present father. A lot purely based on the fact that this is a dad's podcast, and the reason I'm the dad that I am is because of that. So I feel like it is a 2-parter, but I feel like there's going to be more coming.
We're definitely going to come back to the subject.
Yeah, 100%.
There's more. And I think a lot of the time you've talked about mental health challenges and that you've had. And I think that when we are going to do a pod of mental health. And I think, in all honesty, I think a lot of that's going to come up in that as well.
Probably.
So
they do intermingle quite a lot.
Of course they do. Yeah. It's life. That's what it's about. But yeah.
All right. So please leave comments. Try and any points that we've put into this pod itself, like go through the comments and then just like comment on what your own journey with your father, like if you resonated with or found anything that we've said relatable to what you're kind of feeling or experiencing. There has been a lot of different topics, like the fact of the cultural thing, because I know that a lot of mixed race people have that cultural like question mark. That's probably the best way to describe it. So yeah, anyone, just please leave comments, share with a relatable dad.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, share with anyone, because ultimately this is going to affect everyone that's had dads. This is an episode talking about what it was like growing up without a dad, but that could also be about a parent or about any parent. So, and also we talked about, like I said, about culture. So yeah, please like and share and leave comments about what you think. And yeah, thank you very much for watching.
See you in the next one.
Peace.
Dad, are you finished yet? Dad.
Yeah, man, we finished this episode now. Come on, let's go out, kids.